So as time goes on, the more and more likely it seems that we're actually going to get this GH6 eventually. So I figured we better get ahead of it and tell Panasonic what features we actually need from this thing. Let's check it out. So I basically went to one of the GH5 forums and asked a poll question to see what features were really important to the video shooters and photographers out there. So let's check them out. We're not going to do this dramatically and build up to it, so here is the #1 feature that people requested, and that was built-in NDs. And I think that's a pretty good one. I saw one person make a pretty good point saying that that was not a great choice because, you know, you could always just carry an ND with you, but it's hard to, if you've never used it like a camcorder or something, it's kind of hard to exaggerate how useful built-in NDs are. They can work in combination with other NDs, and you always have them with you. When I see a camera with built-in NDs, I know that's a serious video camera, serious camera for videography, cinematography, and it's just is a really great feature that would go a long way in this system. So I think that's a good one. #2 with 49 votes, dual ISO. So that's basically when, you know, like in the GH5S or some of the Blackmagic pocket cameras, there's basically 2 native ISOs at like, you know, 400 and like, you know, 1600. And once you get to a certain level, it resets and you get similar noise performance at a higher level. I think that might be kind of unlikely because Panasonic seems to be kind of obsessed with splitting their cameras up, you know, with the GH5S, the GH5, the S1H, the S1, the S5. That seems to be the trend with Panasonic and with everybody right now. But it would be nice to get the GH6 that had the IBIS and the dual ISO great low light performance. I'm not sure how they would do it, but yeah, I'd be interested to see. 4K 120 FPS. That's an interesting one because as we can see, some really insane cameras like the new Sony a7S III can do it. And this is a feature that I think is like pretty much required to keep the GH6 competitive if and when it comes out. So again, I think that's a good one. I don't know how much I would use it. You know, I think 4K 60 is more than enough, but yeah, 4K 60 10-bit would be more useful to me. I honestly can't believe this one's so far down the list, and that is better autofocus. So that's either some other kind of system or putting phase detect in these cameras finally. This one seems kind of unlikely to me because this has been the one thing Panasonic has refused to budge on for ever. You know, they've never even really talked about putting a different system in there. They've talked about improving the system they have. But when it comes to making a new system, it's never been at the forefront of discussions. But, you know, I think these are the two schools of thought, right? It's, well, everyone who's gonna buy a Panasonic camera has already bought one and is already in the system. And the other side of that would be, well, there's this whole untapped market of people who probably is the only reason they didn't buy a Panasonic camera was they heard about how bad the autofocus was. So I think having better autofocus would really help. I don't think it's necessary, but it might be. It might be just to keep people in the system and to bring people over from other systems like Canon that, you know, I'm sure people would love to leave Canon with their overheating, overpriced cameras, but just can't, for whatever reason, can't find a new home for their system. So yeah, better autofocus would definitely be nice. I don't think it's required for me, but I know it is for a lot of people. So I don't really know about the technical side of this one, but raw internal. Yeah, I mean, I don't see myself using that too much or ever. You know, I barely use Vlog. I barely use like 400 megabits per second mode on the GH5. It's still vastly outperforming what I actually need it to do most of the time. But I can definitely see the arguments for, you know, raw internal being a really cool feature because a lot of people are going to the Blackmagic cameras and things like that to get that raw. And yeah, I think that'd be a good feature. I don't see why they couldn't do it externally at least. So, but raw internal, they probably have to do like one of those super fast cards and replace the SD card. And I don't know. I don't know if the trade-off is worth it, but that got 22 votes, so the 5th most popular option. This is another one that might be confusing if you aren't familiar, but it says full vlog. So if you don't know, stuff like the GH5, the GH5S has something called Vlog L, which is like Vlog Lite, but they're professional cinema cameras like the VariCams and the EVA 1 have what's called just full vlog. I don't know really what the benefits are, but you know, anyone who's ever used it, I think the S1H has full vlog too. Maybe it does. Anyway, point is, anyone who's used it is, you know, cannot stop talking about it, and it is apparently amazing. And it seems just like people want a full version of vlog to probably ship with the camera, but hopefully at least be available for purchase for $100 like it has been in the past. Speaking of, the next one with 9 votes is free vlog. That is not beta, in case in point the GH5. So yeah, people are tired of paying for vlog that probably should be included in the camera in the first place. Just add a $50, $100 on it and just include it. I get the point, like you want to get your camera cost down as much as possible, but not, you know, just maybe make 2 different versions. Make the GH5, or make the GH6, make the GH6L, and the L can be the light version with no vlog and some other features taken out like waveforms or something. So yeah, just include vlog with the price. And please, for the love of God, don't mail it to us. This one seems pretty unlikely to me, but maybe doable. And that one is a bigger sensor. So I don't know if they're talking about, you know, the 1.9 crop of the GH5S, or if they're talking like an APS-C sized sensor. But part of me wonders if a bigger sensor is possible and still retain the IBIS system and the great performance you get from that stabilization. So it seems unlikely to me, but it could be cool because if you look at like the JVC LX LV300, whatever, I'll put the name on the screen. If you look at that camera, it's got a micro four thirds mount and a APS-C sensor, and you essentially just have a really smooth crop, like at 1% at a time, and you can just crop in until you get full coverage. But a lot of lenses like the Voigtlanders are really, really close to covering APS-C image circles, so that would be pretty nice, but I'm just not sure the IBIS would work with a bigger sensor. And we'll just knock down some of these less popular options. Higher resolution for stills, I'm assuming, or video. More megapixels, that's definitely, you know, well, that could be either too. Expanded 10-bit capability, not sure what that even means. Detachable LVF with extension cable. Now we're getting into some really creative ones. I think that would be cool. Bigger display, that's probably going to happen either way. Full HD, 150 to 180 FPS, not slow motion. So, you know, I'm assuming they mean with audio, could be played back at real speed. Interesting. And the least popular option, which is a variable frame rate button while normal recording. So I guess that would be like if you're recording a normal video, you could like dual record a slow motion video, or like just switch over to it really quickly. Not sure. Anyway, yeah, I think those are some really interesting features, and I think that a lot of those have a pretty good chance of being implemented, and a few more probably should be implemented and might not be. So yeah, I appreciate everyone that participated in the poll. I might do another one because, you know, it's kind of a small sample group, but yeah, I think some of those like RAW and higher frame rates in 4K and better 10-bit and, you know, full vlog would really, and the internal NDs too. I can see a ton of people, personally me, I would buy the GH6 just for those internal NDs probably. I mean, obviously there would be other features that I would be interested in, but if I like looked it up, GH6 announced internal NDs, I'd be like, you know, pre-order right away. So yeah. Ooh, internal NDs are so nice. I can't get over it. So yeah, I cannot be sure if the Panasonic GH6 is going to get announced in the fall of this year, of next year, of ever. But if it does get announced, I really hope that Panasonic does what they have always done and really look at the features that people need and people are asking for and try to implement them. You know, I'll give them a pass on the autofocus. They're probably just not going to do it, but if they did, that would be big. So anyway, guys, which one of those that we went over did you think would be the best addition to the GH6? You know, obviously all of them would be great, but if you had to just pick like one or two, what would be some of your top ones, whether we mentioned it in that list or not? Like I said, for me, I think it's the variable NDs. So anyway, leave a comment down below and let me know what feature you'd like to see in the GH6. While you're down there, if you could hit the like button, I would appreciate it a whole bunch. And also, if you could consider subscribing if you liked the video to get notified when my new videos go live, that would help out a bunch. Anyway, thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you guys when the GH6 comes out. Just kidding, that means probably never, right? So I'll see you guys next week. Yeah, next week. All right, see ya.